Because I remember after I went to your training, and you gave the same advice of having a frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
Like next day I went and did my homework, and I saw the results, because sometimes you were just like, why are they asking these very simple questions, Yeah, because you're not prepared for it, and you were just like, oh, maybe they're doubting me or whatever. But if you prepared for it, then it will be like very very nicely given to them, the information. Just like making sure that you don't repeat it like a robot, right? Because you're so used to it. So putting passion and energy in that, but it really helps. I used it, and I really know the efficiency it has. So, Mr. Assad, I just would like us to go now over the importance of knowing your target population. As Vicky said, some people are just like, general population is my target. So what is the importance of knowing your your target population, and how can you use the metrics, those metrics, for you to refine your business delivery?
See, using your target population is a very important thing when you're planning to sell a product or a service. Because let's say let's say, for example, you are a fisherman and you want to sell fish. Obviously, your target audience will be large, and it will cover lots of people. But there will be, I mean, you can't go to, if you go to women who cook, you have a higher chance of selling your fish than if you go to men who are usually in the offices. I mean, they can buy as well, but it's about increasing your chances of converting a lead into a sale. That's why targeting is very important. Another example is, if you want to sell fishing rods using social media, you could look for a place online when you're doing your targeting and find somewhere where there's a river. Like, I mean, people don't fish here. I'm talking about in Western countries. You could find a place where there are rivers and try to target the population around there. You could do a research and see whether it's men who do more fishing or women. You could do A/B testing. I mean, you could test both audiences and optimize. That's another thing. Another thing you could do is to look at the ages of people who like to do fishing. Young people probably are busier. Yeah, maybe in universities and colleges or working elsewhere. Older people or retired people have time. Or people who do it as a leisure sport may want to do it. So based on that, you can target the age of people as well. You can then additionally you can look at interests. If you target people who love fish, generally, you will be increasing the chances of making a sale. If you target people who basically have liked a page related to fishing equipment before, you will be increasing your chances to make a sale. If you want to target people who are somehow use fishing in either Facebook Messenger or some other sort of online discussion, or they are commented on a fishing related post, if you target those people, you may be increasing the chances of selling the product. So you must create your buyer persona of a product you want to sell. You must create a buyer persona is basically a detail of a potential customer. Your target customer, you should basically define that customer. If you are targeting gym goers, you need to create a buyer persona of who would like to go to gym. Probably people who are obese. So those are the people you could target. Or people who are older, or people who have maybe diabetes, or who have hypertension and who want to do exercise. So demographics is very important. Except if your audience is extremely broad, then you don't need to target much. For example, Henry Ford, when he was making his vehicle, he said if he had asked people what they want, they would have said they want faster horses. Instead, he didn't do any market research. He just created a product. And he told people that this is what you want. Except if you are in such a broad category, probably market research. So they are both sides of, some people say market research is important, others say no. But I think for bigger products which affect many people, probably, you could make such an assessment. Or if you're a crazy person like Elon Musk, he could probably, not do market research. And another thing I wanted to mention here about Tesla is they don't spend anything on advertising. They just they have created a brand and they create their electrical cars, they have created the feeling, and they are selling an experience. So basically, whenever a new car is released, it's free marketing. Everyone just covers it, all the media houses just do free marketing. Just like Trump, he says rubbish, and everyone just says, oh, Trump said rubbish, and that's free marketing.
That's his personal plan that people are now.
That's a good tactic, actually. Yeah. It's a tactic. He didn't spend much in his campaign, on marketing. That's why, it's a good lesson for future. That's why a lot of politicians are, following his populist game.
Yeah, because sometimes people also, I think, like controversial issues. So whenever you have certain,
get the attention. Controversy gets the attention. If you are just a regular guy, no one cares. Like on Facebook, if your first 3 seconds are of someone falling from a roof, you will want to watch it. But if of someone maybe eating food or just talking to the camera, who cares? Lots of people talk on the camera. In fact, on Twitter, lots of people selling courses on my page. You can probably block them. Yes.
I wanted to add on this idea of understanding who your target audience is. There are 2 things you have to ask yourself first. Are you trying to solve a problem, or are you trying to meet a need? The most successful businesses are ones that solve problems and meet a need. What is a need? People need to eat every single day, right? In terms of Tesla and electronic cars, that is a problem, right? It is a problem and a need. 1, people need to travel from one place to another. They need cars. 2, the whole world recognizes that global warming is a problem and we need to reduce our carbon footprint and emissions. So with a business like Tesla, there's a problem and a need. So if you're fixing a problem and meeting a need, in a way, you don't have to focus on marketing and advertising as much. But you will have to spend a lot of money on research and development, right? So they may not be spending a lot of money on advertising, but they definitely are very strategic. So they may not be doing paid advertising, but they're definitely doing marketing, right? Down to the company culture, down to whether or not they will, the kind of cars that they'll make, the functionalities in the car. So all of that is still marketing. But for you as an entrepreneur in Sierra Leone, key things you need to know. 60% of Sierra Leoneans are poor, living on less than $2 a day, right? That's about 16,000 leones or 18,000 leones, right? That means that in this market, the products that will do the best are those that meet the needs of people. Alternatively, you could decide, I want to produce lifestyle products. It's not about a need, it's about a desire, right? A desire to feel like I am better than everybody else. So I'm going to sell original Louis Vuitton and Prada and Gucci and Fendi. Because while it's not a mass market product, there is that 1% or 0.1% of the population who may want that, right? But in Sierra Leone, most of us are, if you're doing retail services, which is different from business to business sales, are selling to the masses. So price is important, right? Price is very, very important in Sierra Leone. Before Salomon buy anything, what did they ask? Almost. Because people don't have a lot of money. So understanding your target audience or your target market, first is about understanding the market in general, right? If you know that 60% of Sierra Leoneans are poor, then you should think about, okay, for my business, what does that mean? Am I fixing a need? Am I meeting a need or solving a problem for those 60%? Or am I fixing a need or solving a problem for the 40% that are living on more than $2 a day, right? You also have to think about, is my business urban or rural? And what are the limitations of geography, right? And even if you are urban, can you reach the entire urban metropolis? Does your business do delivery? Do you have multiple branches or sales outlets, right? So the more you think about the realities of your business, it helps you to focus on a niche. I would say, in Sierra Leone, if you start a business today, focus on selling to 100 people. Think of your business as a business that is for 100 people. I'm creating a product or service for 100 people. What do they look like? What is the reality of their life? Where do they live? And how does your business solve a problem for them, right? And once you do that, you make your first 100 sales, you would have collected enough data about those 100 sales for you to then refine it and say, you know what? I want to target 1,000 people now with my business. What does that mean for my sales activities, my marketing activities, my positioning, et cetera, et cetera? Most people start their business like, I want to sell to all man. Everybody cannot be your customer, right? So for like, I run a marketing company, so what I do is business to business sales. You will never hear a radio advert from my company ever. You will probably also never really see a TV advert. You will see the adverts that we produce for our customers, but you'll never see a TV advert. Why? Because for business to business sales, traditional above the line marketing does not work, right? It has to be face to face, in person, with the key decision maker who is probably the managing director of the company or the head of department. You cannot contact those people. Those people are not going to see your adverts and pick up the phone and say, hey, Vicky, I'm looking for marketing. So what I have to do for my business, because it's business to business sales, is I have to continue to find ways to do BTL, below the line, where I can demonstrate my expertise, right? And to also get in front of the decision maker. So I don't do letters, I don't do any kind of traditional marketing that you would think, because that's not what does it. I just find platforms where I can showcase my expertise. So like on my website, I write about marketing, I produce marketing videos, and also I teach, I train, and out of that, I generate, and also I use social media a lot to talk about marketing and business development, and people then will contact me and say, hey, I think you should come and do marketing for us. But traditional advertising and marketing only works for those who understand who they're selling to.
Yeah, that's really important. And I think if I understand well, in your own case, it's like the more organic way of doing marketing, which is like you do business for Addison, for example, and people see what you achieve with them, and then that speaks for you,
right?
Instead of you.
Business to business sales is very different to retail, right? Because it's about relationships, right? It's the relationship between two companies and not you and an end user, right? The end user in this case of business is a whole company. It has many moving parts, many people. So usually also the sales cycle is longer. I can take up to 1 year to close one contract. The same contract. Conversation will start. I kid you not. 1 year to close one contract, business to business. On average in Sierra Leone, it takes me 4 months to close one contract. Why? Because also business to business sales, it's the value of the contract is large. The bigger the value, the longer the sales lead. But if it's just 10,000, someone will give you 10,000, you go, that's it, right? The sale, it's an instant sale. But where it's a bigger sale item, bigger value, business to business sales, you go explain, say you die. You go explain to the MD. MD will say, come and talk to management. You go and explain to management. Go and explain to, like, you talk to everybody in the company just to close the deal. But again, it's business-to-business sales. It's that personal. They have to believe that you can deliver. So the trust factor is very, very important. It's very, very important.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Yeah. And I also do know that you are a big fan of BioBioing.
BioBioing, yes. BioBioing your customer, yes.
Yes, your customers. And really, I do think we need to stop now here and talk about customer service, the customer care and customer satisfaction in Sierra Leone, because it's not existing. Let's just say it. So how can we help those people, those entrepreneurs, reconsider customer relationship, and also how important is it for businesses, customer relationship? Okay.
As I've said earlier, customer relationship is a very important area for every business. First of all, whenever a customer walks into your office, it gives them, if you are selling a product or if you are selling a service which requires them to come to you, it gives them that first impression. The way the customer relation people speak to the customer gives them that first impression and feeling about the business. If you are, as an individual, the way you present yourself and the way you talk to your potential client makes an impact in them. If you are not dressed properly, or if you don't know what you're doing, if you haven't done your research, if you haven't read about them before going to them, if you don't know what value you can offer for them, or how you can help them make more money or generate more leads, you're probably going to waste your time. They may never hire you. They may never take you. So do your homework if you're approaching people to sell a service. In terms of, let's say, if someone is walking into you, the way your staff speaks to your potential client makes a difference. They should be courteous, they should be gentle, they should be patient. You must have heard the quote which says the customer is always right. So your staff should be ready to take abuses. They should be ready to take all sorts of things, but they should always reply gently and kindly, and that makes an impact. Then, as I mentioned earlier, after you get a lead, after you get a potential client, after you get a client and a customer, you must deliver on time. So you must deliver on time. Timeliness is very important. In Salon, common the palabra time. So they deliver on time, they do it, all those things, they make a difference. Anyone who at 9, okay, I came today at 9 o'clock, only 3 people were here. I don't know, maybe you told them 10, right? Yeah, it was 10 actually. But if you are meeting someone and you tell them that you're meeting them at 9, be there at 9, that makes a difference. You already scored 1 mark or 5 marks or whatever. You have already scored a plus because you're on time. Then when you are discussing with them in future, if there are things you need to do it in a timely order. Deliver what you are going to deliver in a timely fashion. And that means that and people like that. People at times, they will praise you that they went to so place, and they did this thing, they had to call as if they are doing him a favor. Whereas, they are the customers of that business. So,
Like if I don't exist or if I don't visit your place, you won't exist at all because I'm the sole reason why you were there as a customer. And you really make me feel so bad. I think I'm begging for a service, you know. And especially like the restaurants, they're the best, you know. Like you tell them something that's on the menu, we don't have it today. Sorry, but I'm not fighting, you know. I'm not your enemy. I'm here to make business with you.
So yes, like you said, so in my class I talk about you must bio your customer. Because in Sierra Leone, we all know what bio means. And the way that you treat your customer, you have to think about it as in 3 parts. You get for bio and before them become you the work kind of streets. Where you want the woman, it is, you know, you go meet them. 2 things. This explains the whole sales cycle for you. If you ala, hey baby, the woman not turn, it means that you have not captured that potential customer, right? However, if she happens to turn, it means that you have gotten her attention. So that's the first part. So the bio then can start. So you go and you meet the woman and you say, you know, oh, I saw you and I'm very interested in you. I know you're busy, I don't want to take up your time, but is it okay if I get your number, right? When she gives you the number, you have captured the lead of a potential relationship, a potential customer. If he not give you a number, you have not captured anything. Bio cannot even happen. But if you do it, it means you bio her in a way that works for her. The next part, you move on to more bio. This is where the bio has to be intense. Because just because it gives you a number, not mean say on a day. Relationship has not started, only the possibility of a relationship. So what's the you do and you send you them morning text. Good morning, babe. How are you, beautiful? The sun has risen with your smile. Right? Trying to bio you. Oh, you know, I see it is afternoon. Have you eaten? Can I bring food for you? Bio. You go on dates. You do activities together. All of those things are trying to move a potential relationship into a relationship. Same thing with your customer. Once you capture the potential lead, right? Somebody contacts you, I'm interested in your business, I want to hear more. You have to engage them in a series of set activities over a period of time to build trust. All that money text, not trust that it's right for build, right? For let the woman feel say, wait una day, na so you get for me. Right? That all of this, I'm taking you out, buy you ice cream, low kind of beach. Oh, baby, day, more safe will be. Right? You have to nurture your customer in the same way you nurture your potential boyfriend or your potential girlfriend. After the person has made a sale, you don't really say, okay, now we're on 2 days now. The same way where you bio at the beginning, if you do not continue to bio, then what happens? Relationship ends. It's the same thing with your customer. If after they've made the sale, you don't do any after-sales support, you don't engage them, you don't maintain the relationship, they are not going to come back to you. But if after they've made a sale, you contact them from time to time, hey, you know, Merry Christmas, you know, you're one of our preferred customer, or Happy New Year, or, you know, Eid Mubarak, or, you know, just even a greeting. How are you doing today? And they're like, oh, how are you? What's up? You're like, oh, nothing. I'm just reaching out to you because you're my preferred customer. You're building a relationship, right? Yeah. Anytime that person needs, they may not need to buy from you every day. But anytime they need that team where they sell, they will go, if not, I like na Kisi you did and they gentle. If they come on you gentle, they're going to find you in Kisi because you have built a relationship and you have maintained a relationship. That alone, no advertising, right? Yeah. If you do that successfully in your business, the people who are your customers will create referrals for you, right? I will tell everybody in my family, you want plants? Go yonder, and they study plants and they do this. You will get people calling you and saying, hey, Fatma said, give me your number. He's saying that you planted last day, you all I'm fine, you do this. Or I'll go eat here and then teach me fine. When I use so close, you will get referrals without ever spending a single cent on advertising. Just the way you treat your customers your business can grow.
So I would like us to, the example was so great because I saw the faces, especially the boys. You know what she's talking about, and you know how to just like do the same in your own business. But I would.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but maybe I was just looking at the boys' faces. That's what I saw, and they should even. So I would like us
The woman by when they cook for you. They cook, they sell. Hey, this guy is happy.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just please talk about digital marketing and how important also it is for the nowadays businesses when it comes to the global markets we have.
I'll just start really quickly. So Sierra Leone has internet penetration of about 11%. So only 11% of Sierra Leoneans are online. Of that, there's a higher concentration in the 18 to 25 demographic, so young people. So most of the people who are online, who are on social media, they're younger people, right? Sierra Leone's population is also 70% people under the age of 35, right? But we have not yet really transitioned to digital. I'm sorry, someone.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Someone talking there?
Yeah.
No. Sorry. What I was trying to say is that, so again, this comes back to understanding the market. Sierra Leone is not completely digital. So anybody who is solely relying on digital for growth is not going to grow. Your business has to be a quarter digital. Digital is important, but you have to understand that we're still kind of analog, right? Now, certain businesses will do better on digital than others. Like I said, B2B sales, I could do all the advertising on social media that I want. Ultimately, what's going to close the sale is that one-to-one relationship. However, for retail, right? Food, fashion, accessories, fast-moving consumer goods, things that they buy, they could actually make a lot of impact and lead on digital. In Sierra Leone, your digital should also not just be Facebook, but it has to have a major WhatsApp strategy, right? Because the things that go viral are the things that come from Facebook and enter WhatsApp. If your business not able to transition to WhatsApp and you don't get WhatsApp penetration strategy, you can just about forget it. Why? Even though it's mostly young people on social media, on Facebook specifically, because when we talk about social media in Sierra Leone, we don't really have that much footprint on Twitter. Instagram is just coming up. It really is right now Facebook. People aren't really on, they're not on YouTube either. Again, this is like a slow thing. So for right now, when we talk about social media in Sierra Leone, specifically, it's Facebook and WhatsApp, right? The reason why WhatsApp is important is that the high income earners, the people who actually have the capital, they're mostly on WhatsApp, right? And they go on Facebook, but they don't really know how to use Facebook. And they're not going there every day. Point of case, my father. My father is 72 years old. He has a Facebook account. He can go there once and wait, I can eat a little still, whatever. But everything he gets on WhatsApp, he forwards it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's really, even though I frown on it, it is an amazing opportunity for companies in Sierra Leone to tap into this culture of WhatsApp sharing. So yes, it's important for you to have Facebook because right now, most people can't afford to do websites, etc., etc. And most Sierra Leoneans aren't going to go to your website. But in the place of having a website, you can have a Facebook page, make it professional, and have content on there for people to be able to, one, find you, and also for you to educate people about your products and services. It's not for you to sell, because you cannot actually do a transaction on Facebook. I can't pay you on Facebook, right? However, if you use Facebook to build trust with me by providing me with information that I need and for me to understand the value you're proposing, you will definitely generate leads, which you then have to close on WhatsApp with mobile money or offline by doing delivery. So that's what I would say. Remember that we're still mostly analog and digital. We are on the way to digitization, but we're not there yet. So your strategy should be what? Mostly WhatsApp and also offline.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about because from the start of the ignition hour till now, everybody has heard me saying to join the hashtag revolution that's happening on Twitter. It's not happening.
Oh, there's no revolution yet.
Yeah, not from us anyway.
Just begin.
Yeah, nobody's adding their voices to the conversations, and we have ways of knowing because and it's really something that we also need to emphasize for the young Sierra Leoneans. Please, Twitter, something's happening there, and you should be curious to know what it is. But it's understandable that we're not in the digitization age in Sierra Leone because in some areas people are launching the 5G. We are still in 3D plus or whatever. So it's really hard for us, but it's something that we could also join. So to finish with this morning program, I would just like to ask you, Mr. Hassan, can you kindly share with us ways and means that in Facebook, for example, we can have more likes and more promotions and stuff? How can we make our publications go viral on the website, online?
First of all, as Vicky said, if your potential product can be sold on social media, that's the only time you should venture on a detailed and exhaustive social media campaign. Let's say what you want to sell meets the audience. It's for young people, probably. It's for people who are in poor countries, etc. You can use social media, and it has advantages compared to other forms of advertising. And some of the advantages are: one, it's cheaper. It's cheaper to put ads on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. WhatsApp may also launch an ads campaign possibility soon. They are going to monetize. It's cheaper than putting an ad on a TV. On a TV, you will pay 75,000 per 1 minute slot. Because after it's played, that's it. That's like $8 or $9. Whereas on Facebook, if you put that money on that video, it could probably reach 3,000 to 5,000 people. And it won't be only reaching them, you will be looking at who is engaging, what they are saying. So the second thing is, unlike a general campaign outside on TV or radio, you can instantly get feedback from people on social media. You can instantly know how they are responding to this product. You can also know it for a TV ad if you do surveys, etc. But on social media, it's instant. You instantly know what they are saying, how they are reacting, etc. The third thing is, when you're sleeping, your Facebook post could be reaching people, so it's 24-hour marketing. So now coming to setting up your social media pages, basically you need to first define your objectives of what really you want to do. You could make your objectives such as 1, to do brand awareness, 2, to do brand promotion, 3, if you want to build a community of people, 4, you want to get insights of your customers, your potential customers, people who follow you, you could get their demographics, you could see which type of people are responding to your posts, what are their ages, where they are, all sort of data you can get back. Another advantage is you can use social media to interact with your customer. You can do customer relations online. So if someone wants to do an inquiry, unlike before when they used to call you, some people would just message you on Facebook if you are there and get an instant reply, and you can create your script as Vicky said. In fact, nowadays you can create bots which automatically reply to people and ask further questions. Yeah, Facebook has an organic one which is limited, but if you install a third-party bot, it keeps going with the customer, and you can broadcast messages later with everyone who sent you a message and do retargeting. So set up your objectives of what you want to do. After that, build a content plan. In your content plan, you need to determine what type of messages you want to send. Do you want to put pictures? Do you want to put infographics? Do you want to put videos out there? Do you want to start a hashtag campaign? Do you want to do a competition or something like that? All your posts should drive engagement. That is why whenever you're doing a post, try to, when drafting a post, make sure it's catchy. Your first line is important. It must be catchy. It must be something shocking. It must be something that will wow someone. Then tell them about what you want to do, and at the end, have a call to action. If you want them to buy or if you want them to inquire for something, have a call to action. And your images with text will be good. If you just put a text, it won't be so good. So you need to know all those type of things. Then, if you don't have money, the cheapest thing you can do is join lots of groups. Join like 20 groups and you share it yourself there, but if you share in so many groups, they will block you. If you share in so many groups immediately, so you could join like 20, 30 groups.
On Facebook, you mean? Or
on Facebook, like in Sierra Leone, we have lots of political groups like Voices of Salon, so Salon group. You know, there are lots of groups. If you want to reach them for free, just share this post into those groups. You know, and if it's catchy, if the post is attractive, if it's a video, if it's really something odd, people will start to interact with it. You know, your video will go far. That's how many people grew their pages to 1 million likes in the past. When video was a big thing. Right now, the reach of video has also dropped, the organic reach. So people used to share their posts in like 100 groups, and then it will just go viral. So those are things you could do, and then monitor. You know, make a budget of how much ad you want to put. Monitor whether you're getting leads or not. If you're not getting leads, you may need to optimize your campaign. And after you get the leads, you need to be able to get sales. So anyone who is replying to those messages, you know, I was at one hotel recently trying to look at what they are doing and developing a campaign for them. And the person who was replying to everyone didn't write proper full English. He just said "I'd" instead of "all right" or "okay," but he just said "I'd," full stop. A very popular hotel in Freetown. I won't name them. Then he will put "I" with small letter. He won't capital the "I." He won't write all the full word. You know, that in fact.
He doesn't have time, maybe.
Exactly. And then when someone asks for a service at the hotel, a potential, and he just mentions the most expensive one. And that won't generate sales. For example, it was about they have a swimming pool. Now I'm narrowing the hotel down. They have a swimming pool, and a day usage of the swimming pool is 120,000. Just a day's usage. Whereas they have a membership for a month where you can go for 30 days if you want, and the membership is just 400,000. So when someone asks you about how much is it to use your swimming pool, why won't you just tell them about the monthly membership? It could probably give you a long-term customer. So those are that's the summary.
Yeah, I'm sure you have so many, but and we would be here listening to it and learning from it. It's really very important for our businesses. And I'm sure some of the members of the audience would like to ask some questions. So I would like to hand the mic to Francis for a question and answer session from the audience.
Thank you. It's such an inspiring session. I've learned a lot. My first question, I didn't get the author, Ishmael Bia, the book's title.
A Long Way Gone.
A Long Way Gone.
A Long Way Gone.
Alright, my second question was about Uber. I read a marketing book. Starbucks was mentioned there, and like Uber. I'd like to know the marketing strategy of Uber that makes them to be so popular.
the marketing strategy of Uber, but I can tell you about how they've rolled out. Uber is meeting a need, right? In a lot of cities across, so they're providing a value, right? Their value is people need to travel and get to place. When they first launched, they were specifically in San Francisco and big cities in the United States. Now, for example, in New York City, people of color have historically had lots of problems hailing a taxi on the streets. And this is not just in New York City, but across the United States, in cities, because of like racial disparities and racial inequalities, hailing a cab, which is, if I stand on the street and I put my hand out, you'll see a lot of empty taxis will pass you by, and if you're a black man or a black woman or a person of color, you're like, hey, I'm not supposed. And so that was like a big issue. So one of the great things about Uber is that it is a marketplace ultimately. Remember that Uber owns no cars, right? It is a marketplace for people who own cars and people who need to travel. You own a car, maybe you're available for 5 hours a day. Those 5 hours, it's almost like you're leasing your car to Uber to use it to transport people around, right? So I don't think that Uber is specifically popular because of their advertising. I think it's that it is a marketplace that's providing a much needed service. In terms of how they've rolled out regionally, because when Uber came to Ghana, I had some exchanges with their Uber Africa lead, and one of my ex-employees actually works for Uber, is head of marketing at Uber in Ghana. They use social media influencers, right? Because Uber is a digital application, right? So if you're an online influencer and you're talking about using Uber, more people who are following you are going to do it. So they didn't do traditional advertising. Like I haven't seen any billboards in Ghana. I haven't seen anything visually. But online they use short codes. So each influencer got a short code. And so when I'm using Uber, I'll say, okay, well, I'm using Uber today, next time you're using Uber, use my referral code, and you'll get a discount. So that increased penetration. But I think ultimately it's that the biggest thing about Uber is that it's a marketplace. You can get a ride anybody can get a ride to go anywhere, no discrimination. It's not like you're going to look at my picture and say, oh, this is a black person, I'm not going to. So I think it's that they met a need and they created this marketplace.
Okay, so can we take like 3 questions on a go and then answer them, please?
Please. Good afternoon. You speak about why do we markets and what are the potential attributes of market in terms of entrepreneurship, and also what are the concept of marketing.
I'm sorry, what's your question?
Why do we market and what are the potential attributes of marketing in terms of entrepreneurship, and also what are the concepts of marketing?
I learned about when they were introducing that you had a background doing in politics and broadcasting. So how did the transition occur? You becoming having learned about politics and broadcasting, then you become a senior marketer anyways. So I want to know how best you do that one. And
you're not asking the doctor how he's taking pictures and he's the doctor.
Okay. The other thing I learned about, I realized that many businesses, the problem that's very common, be it in the private or public sector, is about retaining customers. Like you cannot give what you don't have. Many employers normally treat their employees badly. So like when customers go there, also they treat them badly. Like and even for our startup, like the Abacha people, for example, when you go there, you tend to ask them for a product, and if you are not able to match the price, like you try to use what one trade buyer, Komoya, if you know, you don't get money, that kind of stuff. So what would you tell such people actually who are selling in those places that, you know what, the way you treat a happy customer is a returning customer or a buying customer? So what would you tell them?
Hello everybody, I'm Elizabeth. So we share the same question. So I want to ask a question.
Mr. Assad?
Mr. Assad. So he's a medical student and I'm a nursing student, and we know how exhausting medical field is. And I'm an entrepreneur, and he wants to be an entrepreneur. So he's asking how, out of the exhausting medical profession, how it is, how he is able to switch a bit to business and do medicine.
Let me just answer that quickly. Let me answer it quickly. First of all, I'm not a medical student. I'm done with medical school, thank God. I've done my internship as well, and now I am probably going to do public health. That's the first thing. Secondly, when we're in medical school, when there are no lectures, or after coming home, me and Wahid, we don't go to these local cinemas to watch Arsenal versus Manchester. We use that time to do things. So that's the simple answer. You need to prioritize your time. I don't watch any of those football matches. I don't, sit there gossiping about Messi or Ronaldo, all these type of things. These small things, make a difference. At times, we wake up at night. We have sleepless nights. When you are designing a website, it can get really boring. You have to wake up and just do it. It's the most, editing is boring as well. So designing a website can get boring as well. So it's all about maximizing your time, and you'll be able to do it. Eventually, you want to own a business. You want to work for yourself. If you don't create a solution for someone, you'll be working for someone. You'll be fulfilling people's dreams, not your own dreams. So make people work for you in future.
Yeah, great. So the end word is focus, being focused all the time. That's really great. Vicky, would you
I
like
think
to answer?
your question was around, I think you actually asked the question and you answered it. So I'm not sure if I...
The irritated customer, the irritated staff?
Yeah, I think he was saying that, how do you tell people who are upset with just doing business, right? Like if a customer comes and they don't have money, and I'll give you an example. So yesterday I was up at talking to a telecommunications company in Sierra Leone that wants to work with me. And ultimately it came down to money, and they were saying they really want to work with me, but they only have this kind of money. And I was like, you know what, that's okay. However, if you can't afford it today, there's always next year. So for me, I want to drive a Range Rover just like anybody else. But sometimes I keke money I get. I'm not going to go to Range Rover dealership with me keke money, go say, power pad and go sell Range Rover to me for keke money. No, it's simple that for now I only have this kind of money, so I have to lower my expectations. So if a customer comes to me, I've told people this is my bill, and they say, the money not cool. And I'm like, it's not that it's a lot of money, it just means that you can't afford it, right? And that's okay. It's okay for it to be out of your budget. It's okay for it to not be of value to you enough for you to want to give me the amount of money I'm asking for. So somebody asking you for price or not even paying, I don't see why that's a problem. Ultimately, I would still maintain a good relationship. I'm like, okay, you can't afford it now, that's fine, but should you ever want this, you know where to find me, and I'll put them in my potential customer list, and I'll send them newsletters whenever we have newsletters, and I'll just help to build a relationship. Because maybe they may not be able to afford, but they could have a friend who can afford, right? So the key thing is not necessarily to make a sale, but to build a relationship. Even to that customer that can't afford to purchase your item or your good at that time. I think that was it, right? Yeah. Sorry. Oh, career change. Okay, so my first degree is in political science and my master's is in journalism. And for me, those two things allow me to be an analyst, right? So the one thing that I know how to do really well is research and analysis. And that helps very much in marketing because you really have to understand the market more than anything else. If I understand the market, if I understand your business, if I can do research about your business, research about the industry, I can understand the problem. if you do not understand the problem, you can't come up with the solutions. Also, being a journalist and being trained as a journalist means that my writing skills are top notch. And writing is actually very important for advertising. Like I produce radio adverts, I write the script myself, I write the script for my own TV show. Also because I have a master's in broadcast journalism, I know how to shoot video, I know how to edit video, shoot photos. I mean, there really isn't anything that has to do with media production that I don't have the skills. However, I don't do the work myself. I still hire people, but because I have the technical knowledge, I know exactly what shot they should get and how. So when I see it, I'm like, no, this is wrong, right? So I'll hire you to shoot and edit a video for me. When you send it, I can say, no, the narrative is wrong. So the shots might be great, but in terms of the narrative arc and the story, I will tell you, move this here, do this here, and it'll take me 2 minutes. And at the end, we get a better output because I have the technical knowledge, even though I'm not the one doing the job. Ultimately, my life is about following my passions. And so whatever is of interest to me, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna learn how to do it. So I was doing marketing, I enjoyed it, and so then I learned on the job. But I also read a lot of content about what top companies are doing, emerging trends, just to stay on top of the competition, which there is none. Like nobody knows marketing more than me and Sierra.
That's Vicky for you. Anyways, yeah, she's marketing her own brand. And yeah, so I would like to say thank you so much to our great speakers. Give a round of applause to them, please. They have walked the extra mile to be here with us. Most of you who are here today know how short notice this is, and it's because of the heavy schedule of the two speakers, but they were willing to walk the extra mile and come here today, share with us, and make us more empowered when it comes to understanding marketing. Vicky was traveling, came back when, yeah, it was absolutely crazy. Asad himself woke up very sick today, and I was like, there is no way you're gonna escape, you know. My grip was on his hand. So these people are really amazing, and they did it for us, so we have to really thank them for that. I would just end by saying, for the two of you, it seems like you're out of place when you landed in marketing, but you nailed it very well when you talked about passion. Because, yeah, whatever you're doing, especially in entrepreneurship, if you're not passionate about it, you know there is money out there, you just dive into it, you're doomed to fail because there is no passion in what you're doing. And you see how also Mr. Asad is informing his practice of today with the passion he has about medicine and using the digital market for him to create solutions for Ebola, as was shared in his bio. So all those are great things that we need to capitalize on. Not only stagnating on where you are now, but knowing how to use your studies and how to inform the future journeys you have, the future initiatives you have with what you have seen or what you have done in the past. Okay, so thank you so much for being here, all of you, because it was really short notice, but you tried to do it because of your love for learning. So thank you so much, Vicky. Thank you, Asad. We had a very great session. And for the audience, please remain seated as we are going to have the breakdown session with you, because the expert language that was used is like of high value, but we need among ourselves to just like see what we learned, how we're going to act upon it, and how we're going to make our community